Hi guys, it's Joe, and this video is going to be our part 2 of my house mixing guide. And today we're going to be looking at drums and how to apply the compressions and reverbs that you want for it, and how to make it work with everything else in your track. And we'll probably do a bit of sidechaining as well. So we'll just focus on this 8-bar loop for now, and I'll show you what we're working with. So it's kind of a basic beat, but it's still quite cool and quite funky. So first thing that we're going to have a look at is the positioning of everything for where we'll be panning it. So just at the start here, we've got our kick, a couple of snares and a click, and the click just sounds like this. It's just a little wooden hit, and as it sounds kind of similar to the snares, I want to keep that in the same position, and I like to keep these all completely central, so we just leave them as they are for panning. And then on the clap, I tend to have that on the left a little bit, just because I have my hi-hats on the right, so I just put that over a little bit, just so it's noticeable but not too noticeable. And now with our hi-hats, as I said, I like to put them on the right, and I like to do that because I pan my entire drum kit as though it's the viewer looking at a drummer playing at a show or something like that. So from the viewer's perspective, the hi-hats will be on their right because it will be on the drummer's left, because it will most likely be a right-handed drummer. So I just pan them over just a little bit, just like 19 or so. But you want to make sure all of your hi-hats are in the exact same place, otherwise it will sound quite bizarre. See, that was already there. So yeah, they're all in the exact same place in your field. Now for toms, it's the same kind of deal. You want to position them as though it's the viewer, and for the low tom, it would be on the drummer's right, so you'd want to put it on the viewer's left. So for that kind of a hard left, and then it works its way up throughout the tom, so still have that on the left a little bit, and then for the high tom, it'll be on his right a little bit. So everything's starting to come together a little bit. Now lastly is the crash. I have that on the opposite side of the hi-hats, so as you can see it's on our right here, so I'll put quite hard on the left, a little bit less, that's a bit better. And then shaker, I tend to put that on a little bit of the left as well, again because it's a constant hitting against the hi-hats. You don't want them both on the right, so it kind of adds a bit more depth to it. So it's starting to sound quite wide now. Now we're just going to add in some EQs and stuff to everything, so we'll start with the kick naturally. So just play that on a loop, and we'll open up our channel EQ. Now I tend to take out a fair bit of low, it kind of depends for the kick, so yeah, that's cool. And then I just do a little boost. Not quite as much as that, but maybe to 110. Sounds quite good. Now I'll take out some of the high end, just a little bit usually. Cool. Now I do this on literally everything I EQ. I take out some of the low and some of the high, just so it's not wasted energy in the mix, and then it allows more headroom for higher volume with everything else. So I've just taken out a little bit here, just because it's a lot of speakers can't really even play this too well, like from 40 and below, so I tend to get out just a little bit so it tidies everything up. And then kind of the same for the high, but equally in the kick there's not a lot of high end, so I just duck out some of that, and again it saves any energy that we can then use elsewhere. I just like to use a little boost here just to make it sound a bit beefier. Now we'll move on to this click. I'll narrow this down though. Cool. So again, we'll take out any low end. Okay, so it's kind of around here. Get a little bit of high. Cool, I'm liking that. As you can see, I've changed the bandwidth on here, so it's just you get a little boost after the high pass. Quite like that, yeah. Adding a slight, not that one there. It's a slight overall increase in the higher end. There we go. Yeah, it's around here, just to give it a bit more substance. Now for the snare, same kind of deal. Again, I've got the same boost after it, so just find a good spot for it. That sounds quite good. Around here. So just getting a bit of a punch after the cut here. Don't have to take much off my snares at all, to be honest. Now just boost around here, just to increase the snap and attack of it. That sounds quite nice. Now, where's our snare? I might just be at the end actually. Cool. So this sounds somewhat different in that it's a bit lower. So don't want the exact same EQ. Cool, right. Yeah, it's around here, and then again, duck out some of this. And we'll do the same, but a bit lower, because the attack on it just sounds a little lower pitched. Cool. Now have a look at claps. Do the same. And I like to keep these just over in the higher end, just because we have a lot of bass going on and we want a nice clean cut through. So I've got rid of all of this. Again, just a nice little boost. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that, and we're just going to put a separate boost entirely for it. Make it a bit wider because it's starting to sound very bizarre. Bit wider. That's quite nice. Now for the hats, again, I like to do pretty much everything exactly the same on the hat, so I'm going to EQ one of them and copy and paste it over, because you won't be able to do that on a live kit. Yeah, having separate EQs for the same hat, I mean, and get rid of like nothing of the high end, but a lot of the low. Okay, we'll just lessen that a little bit, and we're going to put probably just a high shelf on it. Brighten up a bit. Cool. Now we're just going to open up the mixer and copy and paste this over onto all our hats. Cool, cool. Toms. It's going to be a nightmare to find the toms. Okay, so we've got a high tom. We'll focus on that one for now, because I'm not even sure there's any of these two in this first part. Right, turn this on. So, steep slope, thank you. And this is quite good for the toms, because obviously you've got a main point here, as you can see on the analyzer. I'd like to get rid of that. And just give us that strong boost. Get rid of some high end. Cool, quite like there. Got something else going on here? No, okay. Just give it a bit more punch here. And the crash, it's just going to be one right at the start. Okay, we'll take out a lot of low end, have a little boost. Tiny amount of high, and then put another high shelf on. Make it sound nice and bright. Shake it, doesn't really need too much, it's just a background. So probably get rid of quite a lot of the low end, just because we've got enough low end going on as it is. We just want a nice high kind of rattle from this. I think that's kind of alright. Another Really small boost there. Cool. So it sounds a lot thicker already. Now I'll just show you what I've got on my overall stack for the drums. I've got a multi-band compressor here, so you can see we've got quite a lot of a boost going on here for the low end, not so much in the mids. Then the higher we go, got more going on up here. This is obviously for the kick to make it sound nice and thick, and this is more for the snares and the hats to make them sound really, again, thick and strong. We've got another single compressor here, not much going on with it, it's kind of a soft one, because I like to just have one overall and then I'll apply individual ones to each. And then just an auto filter to make it sound a bit thicker again. Cool, right, let's start adding some compression. Let's just get up our standard. Focus on the kick for now. I like to put quite a hard compressor on the kick, like 4:1, quite a quick attack, and then a reasonable release. Yeah. Sometimes I put on distortion, it kind of depends on the kick though. I quite like it on this one, but we'll come back to that just in case it doesn't really work with the rest of the basses and the synth and stuff. So, put a bit of makeup gain on that. Yeah, that sounds quite good with it. And then another one for the snare. Softer one on the snare, usually about a 3:1. Got this down a bit. Bit of makeup gain on it. Really quick release, really quick attack. About 10. Cool. Won't bother with any distortion on that. But I'll put the same one on the other snare as well and just see how that sounds. What's the clap? Where is it? No, never mind. I've shuffled these around here so not next to each other on the mixer, so that's nice and handy for now. Cool. And it's just at the end. Probably slam this one because it's just kind of for that fill. So again, yeah, we'll do a 4:1, juice this. Quick release again. There we go. Bit of distortion on it just to make the fill have a bit more impact. Cool. Cool, so everything's kind of starting to sound bigger now with the EQs tidying everything up and the compression making everything sound quite thick and nice. Now we're just going to do a bit of reverb. So we're just going to set up a bus. It's just, yeah, bus 15, make a new one. And we just go to our space designer. We'll just try and find a medium kind of space. Let's have a look. Try piano warm sound, let's see how that sounds. So, just solo our kick. Increase this a little bit. And then we're going to start sending some. See how it sounds. That sounds horrid. Sounds like it's distorting, but it might be because of this. No? Right, no, I don't like these. Let's try and just go for a smaller one, shall we? Compressed hall. It's a bit better, we'll just reduce it. And then on the output EQ, I get rid of quite a lot of the low end, because again, like the low end of the reverb can make it sound really muddy. Just kind of getting rid of that distortion a little bit as well. Duck this down a little bit. Cool, yeah, I quite like that. Now I tend to put this on pretty much everything, but But the hats, it kind of depends again for the hats, but we'll go through and just add a little bit to each. Plus 15. Yeah. Cool. And as this is just the odd hit, we'll have a higher reverb on this to fill out a lot of the space. Cool, like that. This definitely needs some reverb because it sounds really thin. Just a touch though. Cool. Right then, we need to shift along for our end snare. Way too much. A little bit less and it should be fine. Yep, nice one. Now I'd like to put a lot on the clap because it just fills out a lot of space really nicely. Nice one. We'll leave the hi-hats for now and then we'll just put a little bit on the high tom. Actually, I put quite a bit on the high tom because again it's just an odd hit. So I tend to put on enough reverb so you can hear it and then just duck it down a little bit so it's not horrendously obvious, and then a little bit again on the shaker. And we'll not do the crash for the same reason. I'll explain a bit more in a second. Yeah, just a little bit on that, too much, and to be honest it made it sound like it was raining. So yeah, I don't tend to put any on any cymbals because it can sound quite tacky, to be honest, especially on a MIDI sound, and I don't really find that the crash needs it. And obviously it's very important to listen to everything as it is without anything solo because the snare here sounds way too loud. It's the kick. Yeah, it's a kick. Yeah. And the snare. So again, we'll just duck everything down so it's not as obvious, because you can really hear it coming through there, and you just want it to pull everything together opposed to making a creative adjustment to it, which I don't really want to do for this. If I were to, I'd separate the clap completely and just have a really nice high reverb on that, but it's not really what I'm going for here. That sounds a lot better. Cool. Right, now we're going to have a quick look at sidechaining our kick to one of the synths we'll probably have a look at first. We'll have a look at a really long held synth and create a nice pulsing effect with it. So unmute these. And the smooth chords over here. Should I have a look at? Maybe not. I need something more consistent because obviously they're dropping out here. Maybe let's have a look at some of these. Might work quite well in this transition actually. Yeah, it sounds like a really heavily reverbed crash. So, right, to do our side chaining, we'll go up and we'll create a new bus for the kick. Just make it the first one available. Go to it, no output. And then we're going to go down to our transition and apply a compressor. I'm going to make it quite a harsh one. We'll go 5 to 1, shall we? Or 5 to 2. Yes, we'll go up here to our side chain. It's plus 16. Cool. Well, that's on the wrong one. What the hell? No, never mind. No, that's something else. Right. It's because we haven't put it up on here, that's why. So I need to put this up to 0, my bad. There we go, now it's doing something. So we kind of want to adjust this accordingly. You can hear it there, it's the reverb that's clashing with it a little bit. That's alright, it still sounds quite cool. Cool, yeah, it sounds quite nice. Again, this would be a really good thing to put on more consistent synths, but the ones I have here are a bit more stabby. Let's see this one. Might just do the same. Nah, it sounds quite nice just being soft as that. Okay. Nice idea, actually. Yeah, I might put one on here so that this cuts through above. So, if anything, yeah, I want it to cut above this. So we're going to add the sidechain to this bass here, just a different one, and then add it to these atmosphere chords, make it cut through a bit more. Just kind of, I feel like this is getting in the way a little bit, so just a bit softer probably. That little boost. Kind of a probably a quick release and a quick attack, because it's quite a percussive sound. Quicker release. Yeah, so it's just making the bass cut through a bit more over these chords. Cool. Now we're just going to go through and add some reverb to the basses, and I'll probably leave it there. So I don't put any on the sub because it doesn't need any. It's just there to add more depth to it. Whereas for these ones, I definitely would. Yeah, especially for this one. So what we've got on here. Okay, this is basically a blank one. I'll just put one on here and maybe a bit of EQ. So we don't want anything too huge. In fact, yeah, let's see how this one sounds. Yeah, it's cool. That's what we'll do. Again, we want to do this. I want a bigger sound. Let's try something else. Just a little bit bigger. It's like 0.7. That's better. That's way better. And you can hear those harder notes cutting through on that reverb a lot more as well. It's cool. Down a little bit. Again, I put it up so I could hear it, and now I've just kind of leveled it down to just about audible. So again, we've got a sub here. Doesn't need any reverb because it hasn't really got much characteristic to it. It's just there for that energy that it provides. Just could do it a little bit. Just gives it a bit more presence. barely even hear that. Nice. Right, we'll add one to the percussive layer now. So again, probably stick to the same bit of reverb. I'm filtering it there, it's not the best point to use that on. Cool. Yeah, so about that sounds quite nice. Edit on this pluck here. Oh yeah, this one. Oh, this is sound nice with quite a lot on it. Cool. Yeah, I like that, that's nice. Now for the next one. Okay, it's the same but just with a longer attack. Yeah, I like that a lot. Last bass. This won't want much because it's quite a deep one. My general rule of thumb is the lower something is, the less reverb it needs. So for the lower bass there, we don't really want much. Okay, I'll probably leave it there for this one, and then next time we'll carry on adding reverb to our chords and piano, and then getting everything to work well with one another and properly mixing everything together. So today was more about getting the drums to work together so everything sits together really nicely, which they do now, and it sounds very good. So everything just really sits together really nicely with the compression and the reverb on top and makes it sound like a complete kit. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment or contact me via my website. Thanks a lot for watching. Cheers.